We're
Hello everyone. How's it going? You guys groovy today? Cool. Alright. How's it going? It's Monday. We're back. Start of a new week. A groovy new week for all of us together in the land of Warhipster. Holding a nightmare to glue model, typing with one hand. Oh, so concentrate on the gluing, Martin. Going great. I tried to adapt your White Lord on Steed into the White King on Steed using Baronite's Guide to help. Oh, awesome. Hello, Captain Mannerings. Daz456, hello. Sergio, Maureen, Madison, Ventura Chris, Mini Peyton Dad, Philip G, Matthew Holmes, Sly Guy 77, Thomas, David Hill, Tattooed Zoologist. Good afternoon. I have to say thanks for the Slaves to Darkness videos. Loving them. Oh, you're very welcome, Maureen. I have quite a sizable collection of Slaves to Darkness miniatures. Well, yeah, I do have that, but of videos. How was everybody's Easter? Was it groovy? Was it cool? Are you still enjoying it? It's bank holiday today. Is it? Pretty sure it is. Yeah. Today, we will be making a bit of progress on Alfalfa, otherwise known as Alpharius. We're actually just kicking the video off. We're kicking off the filming. So it's gonna be starting today. So we'll see how far we get with it. We won't get particularly far, I don't think, but we shall have to see. I'm just gonna check the overhead shot. See if we can get it looking cool. If I like this, and then there we go. That will be the orientation. That will work. Demon Prince turned out well following your tutorial. Oh, thank you, Philip. Which Demon Prince? Slaves to Darkness one, or World Eaters? Emperor's Children isn't out yet. That'll be out. Hopefully that'll be out this week. The Emperor's Children Demon Prince video, and hopefully I will also get Malekith out this week as well. You do have the Lord Cacophonist yet to come out as well. Emperor's Children fans. You've got 2 more videos for the Emperor's Children. One for Elden Ring fans. And then who knows what will happen next week. I don't know. I'm not that far ahead. Hopefully this video. The Batman is here. Hello, the Batman. It's here. It's happening. Alpharius, the boy himself. So we'll just get started in just a second. Experimenting with some basing by using a layer of PVA glue before applying texture crackling paint. Should be interesting. That does sound interesting. I love your channel and literally bought an entire new on sprue 30k Alpha Legion army. Are you making this Alpharius into a proper tutorial? Yes. Yes, I am. So I'm going to be filming it live with all of you. So we have this screen ready to go. So you don't have to look at my face or any of the analytics on screen. Anything like that. So we will be... You'll be getting to see a full... you're going to get to see... you're going to get to see how I kick videos off and all this kind of thing. Which I know is an exciting time for everybody. So I've kind of remembered how I paint Alpha Legion. I've had a brief squiz through it. I'm going to change the recipe slightly for him, just to make it a little bit more, a little bit better, I think, is what we're going to do. There's a lot of, there's a lot that's going to go into this one, because he's quite intense. However, realistically, he basically consists of about 3 colours overall, which is very interesting. So it's gonna be a fun one, I think. This one, it's gonna be it's gonna be fun, I think. So I'm gonna kick things off here. So let's get things started. Let's get it started in here. So here we go. Whee. Okay. Oh God. There we go. Hello everybody, it's the Warhipster here, coming at you with another Contrast Plus painting tutorial, and we are returning to the Horus Heresy once more with another Primarch. The one that I think has been the most requested Primarch of all times. Yes, it is Alpharius, the Primarch of the Alpha Legion, and today we're going to be hitting him up in our Contrast Plus style. So, he has been primed in Grey Seer, and, well, there's a little bit of admin. Firstly, we're going to work on Alpharius, then we'll work on his base, and then we shall work on the scenic base, which is why I'm waving that at you in the intro here. And, well, it's time to jump in and start painting him. So, he has been primed in Grey Seer, as we've already mentioned, and the colour we're going to be using first is Iron Hands Steel, because they don't make an Alpha Legion steel. And we're going to be applying this over the top of all of Alpharius's armour. So we're just going to start down here on the leg. I'm just going to really work this into all of the scales and all the trim. And we're even going to be applying this over the top of areas such as the backpack and the slightly darker greenish trim that you see sort of scattered around the model on the box art. Because it's all metallic at the end of the day, which is pretty cool. So, like I said, we're just going to get this all over. Now, there is going to be a bit of variation in all the silver later on, but for now, it just makes sense to apply all the Iron Hand Steel first, rather than muck about with everything else. And for those of you wondering why we haven't primed him in silver, well, firstly, Iron Hand Steel is a brighter silver than not Liberator Gold. It's definitely a brighter silver than Liberator Gold. It's a brighter silver than Lead Belcher, and we've got that gorgeous cloak there as well, which is going to be, well, it's not going to be a metallic cloak, so we don't want to get that all metallic and then have to reprime that with Grey Seer by hand instead. It's just a little bit simpler to do it this way. So, once this Iron Hand Steel is all applied, we shall of course be right back with the next step. There you go. So, what have you guys been up to this weekend whilst I apply a lot of Iron Hand Steel to our Primarch here? Painting warp spiders. Hello, Pip. Painting the White King. You know, I don't, for the tutorials, I basically will ignore you guys whilst I'm filming. And that's not because I don't want to talk to you. It's because I don't want to break the immersion for everyone else whilst they're watching one of these things. Because I don't want to have to edit it out, basically. Just saving myself a job. I know it's selfish, but what can I say? I can be a pretty selfish dude. Is Mortarion after or break between Primarchs? I don't know. It depends on how long this guy takes to do, and how much time I have left to do it. Painting one of these always is quite a time sink, because I try my hardest to get it right. As close as I possibly can, and because there's so much detail going on these, that it actually they become quite a time sink to do, is the thing. So, look, I mean, if I was to start Alpharius today and finish him tonight, then I could probably roll straight into Mortarion, but it's unlikely that it's going to happen. I've got some other things I have to do. So we're making a start. I am but one man, though. And I know all you guys want is all the tutorials you want right now. So in order to make that happen, you have to help me hire some underlings. Regretting choosing Metallica for your Adeptus Mechanica. So much white. Yes. Yes. They are a white intensive army. It's all the cloth as well, isn't it, for Metallica? Which makes it doubly difficult, I suppose. Where's the next panel to go for? Let's just go here. I always get lost as I paint a Primarch. Because often when I'm painting, right, I let the model teach me where it wants me to go, right? And that can be either by virtue of making a mistake, and because you made a mistake, it indicates to you that the next panel you should work on is the one that you've made a mistake on. But when you're painting one of these, you end up scaling all the way up to the helmet, and then you realise that you've left an entire leg and half an arm and this, that, and the other. Because they are complicated beasts. And rather frustratingly with him, we basically have to apply all the silver and then wait 4 hours for it to dry. I'll get you a Watcher in the Dark for help. No, because all they do is they sit there and they just, you know, they don't hype you up or do anything helpful. They just sit there and just not, like, you know, shake their heads disappointedly at you. If you're either not doing something to advance the interests of Caliban or doing something to advance the interests of Caliban. It's like, make up your minds, Watcher in the Darks. You know, what do you want? How about a Watcher in the Water to help? Again, I feel like a Watcher in the Water is more likely to be a disruptive influence in a studio full of, you know, delicate things with delicate processes, you see. You know, ultimately what I'm trying to do is expand the content rather than become a monster's lunch. You know? I've seen footage of the Watcher in the water. Very delicate. Was going through pockets and trying to find a ring. Yeah. Does also occupy an entire lake. And my studio barely has enough room for me. So essentially, by purchasing and forcing a Watcher in the water upon my studio, you kill me and the channel and have no future videos whatsoever. Because there's no room for me anymore. Because I'm dead. So, you know, I just, like, I appreciate the suggestions. I just feel like they're slightly counterproductive to being able to achieve the things that you guys are often asking for, which is specific videos. And I'm like, I'm not sure. I'm not sure my untimely demise is really going to help with that. But, you know, I'm willing to be proven wrong, you know? You can see what happens. You know? Someone could perform a hostile takeover and they're like, haha, I have the Warhipster channel now. Hello everybody, it's the new Warhipster here. So today we're going to pull out our airbrush and we're going to use inks. Ha ha ha! Contrast is dead, nobody likes it. And then, to be honest, probably get thousands more subscribers. Do better than I ever did. Building Iron Warriors for Horus Heresy. Spent too much at Salute. What about Sting so he can be watching you? Okay, I'm gonna reiterate once again. What I need, guys, is I need staff to help me, not people to unsettle me, distract me, murder me, eat my stuff, or push me out of my studio. And I think having Sting watch me all day is just unnerving. And is not really going to help proceedings. Do you see what I mean? Every breath you take. Thanks for everything you do. You got me into the hobby. Your Norn emissary made me buy and to jump headfirst into this universe. For the Emperor, thank you very much, Dominic, for the $5 super chat. That is incredibly generous of you. Thank you very much. I very much appreciate that. as always, any and all super chats or memberships or gifted memberships are incredibly highly appreciated around here. After all, it's that kind of thing that helps me keep these lights on, as opposed to being butchered alive by some of the solutions to productivity that chat is coming out with today. Thank you very much. And Captain Mannerings has been a member for 24 months, says, how about some people whispering in your ear? Well, again, similar to the problems with concentration, not only is people whispering in my ear a problem, it means that they'll be whispering over the top of me doing any recording, which means the videos will be fundamentally unusable. So once again, I will have to redo them by re-recording the voiceover, and I'll get stuff wrong. I'll end up lying to you in the videos. I'll end up trying to think, what the hell was that thing? What is it I did there? Oh, I don't know. I'll just make it up. You know what I mean? And then I'll be trying to record the voiceover, and they'll still be whispering in my ear. You see? See the problem? Have you looked at the Mirkwood Elves sprues just to see the horror show that is the silly decision to leave the primary warrior for an army in fine cast while the specialty units are plastic? I have looked at them, and they are awful. Cryptip, thank you very much for becoming a member. Legendary. Just got another SLA printer after selling one off years ago so I can make terrain. Started printing Trench Crusade. Any chance models from that range will make it to the channel? Well, I don't have a printer. I don't know any of the models other than what other people show me. And I know nothing really about Trench Crusade. And there's a lot of people will tell me that it's going to be really cool and it's really awesome and I'll really like it. And the problem is, I don't have anyone to play it with. And I don't have time to sit and learn about it. Now, I would like to, because it looks cool, but I can't promise that I'm going to do it, because I'm probably not, for a long time at least. At least not until suddenly everybody else is over it, and I'm like, oh, hey, now I have time. Is usually how things go like that. You're welcome. No, thank you very much. No, at least we're gonna be doing a bunch of elves at some point, I'm sure. My next couple of weeks are absolutely crazy. How did you paint the scarring on the one Wrecker Crew Orc's face? Your video did not show it. I think I did what I did on in the Commandos video, so it's probably a little bit of Gilliman flesh. I honestly can't remember, I'm afraid, Dudex. I would check out the Commandos video where I probably did some scarring in that, and if I didn't do any scarring in that, then it's probably a bit of Gilliman flesh. It's whatever I do on the bottom lip of some of them is typically the same for the Orc scarring. So either Gilliman flesh or Reichland flesh shade, whatever it is I use. But I do not remember, I'm afraid. For the Wrecker Crew was months ago. And I have a very fuzzy brain. It's very fuzzy. I will say one thing about this Alpharius model. It mostly goes together fine, but trying to assemble the spear was ass. Like, it was just not fun. And I am terrified that as I'm painting this model, it's going to break as I'm going. Because it is held on with good intentions and foul language. Because as always is the problem with somebody who hates building, as soon as I have to do anything that isn't just put the plastic pieces together, I hate it even more. It's why 3D printing just flat doesn't appeal to me at all. Especially not for whole models or anything like that. Would you recommend keeping the spear as a sub-assembly for us non-professionals? No, because you'll never get it on, Rabbit Squirrel. It's not designed in such a way where it actually twists in. It doesn't line up. So if you're going to build it as in a sub-assembly and then assemble it, you're going to have to varnish the crap out of the model, except in the areas where you're going to apply the glue, because you don't want to make that any worse. Because there's no way you're going to be able to just stick it on. You have to twist it in, to twist the resin like this. You can see, look, you can see the tension on it on mine. Hang on, look, there you go. See how it's bent in a little bit? It's because there's tension on it to keep it in there. It took me, I had to sit holding it for 25 minutes to make sure it didn't ping out. Because building anything with resin is ass. It sucks. It's awful and I hate it. Do you like miniatures? Do you want to give them all a bath first and have none of the pieces actually fit? By the way, you have to use superglue. So if it's misaligned in any way, shape or form and you don't realise for 20 minutes, you are screwed. And it's all hollow too. What is your opinion on pewter/metal models? Far better than resin models because you don't have to do anything with them most of the time. Most of the time you just pull it out and it's all in one piece. So great. Or you have to stick a spear and an arm on. Something like that. It's like, yeah, cool, I'm in. This rules. Sounds like a skill issue with superglue. I mean, it probably is. I'm terrible at building miniatures anyway. I you know, you guys know this. I don't like doing it. And nothing's ever going to convince me otherwise that it's a fun time out. Oblivion remake tomorrow. Is it happening? I'm not sure if I really care, to be honest. Like, I don't mean that in like a... I think Oblivion's rubbish. It's just, I've played Oblivion. I finished Oblivion. I then played Oblivion again and finished Oblivion in an hour. Because you can do that. And I'm done with it. And I'm not sure I want to play an RPG that's over 20 years old. Do you see what I mean? Having played a game like Baldur's Gate 3, it's like I don't really want to play something that is not as in-depth and as detailed as that. Where there's only 5 voice actors for the entire thing because they spent the entire budget on 2 of them. So everybody sounds the same. And the mechanics aren't great. And like I always struggle with like Fallout and like Skyrim and stuff like that. And that I'll play it once and then I'll be done. And I'm like, yeah, cool. But it's not because I didn't enjoy it. It's just like I did everything that I needed to do in the first playthrough, and now I'm like, yeah, okay, I'm done with that experience. If you see what I mean. So, I know it's kind of sacrilege, but I'd like to see what Bethesda are capable of doing with a game that is actually, you know, I'd like to see Elder Scrolls 6 or whatever it's supposed to be called. You know, I'd like to see that game more so than a remake of one I've already played that I enjoyed in 2005. But it's like you know, it's like the problems with and the reason I never picked it up. The problems with Starfall was it was like this is a game that plays like it's from 2005. So I don't want to play that in 2025, especially when the game's ambition was X and its achievement was not X. Why isn't that working? What colour is Alpharius' belt? Oh god. It's armoured belt. Cool. That is all the Iron Hand steel applied. Now we wait for it to fully dry. Uh, how did you prime the Caradron balloons, boys, without getting primer on the clear stand? I didn't put them on the stand when I primed them. I primed them on a piece of card rather than on their bases on the flight stand. Just leave them off that, prime them, then assemble them on there. Hey man, love the tutorials you have on here. Been painting my first models. Custodian's using them. Oh, awesome. Thanks, Nav. Andor Season 2 starts tomorrow, boys. Does it? Cool. I think my last message was too long, but I wanted to say thank you for your advice with making the prosecutor's wings green. You always inspire me and get me excited to paint when I watch your videos. Oh, thank you, BT. That's very kind of you. Thank you. I'm glad you enjoyed it. Bungie's new marathon game looks terrible. It just looks bland. It looks the same. It looks like it's the same thing again, just in a unique looking setting. And it's like the gameplay isn't doing anything particularly interesting. You have to pay for it as well. It's not a free to play extraction survival battle royale shooter thing. It's a paid experience. So it's like, Do you have any advice on how to make a greyish leather? I'm painting some Kriegsmen and I tried Basilicon grey over Wraithbone. It was a little too transparent. Should I put a base under the grey? You could do. You could try. It depends how darker grey. Excuse me. How darker grey you're going for. I would suggest if you're going for a really dark grey and you're doing it over Wraithbone, you're probably better off using Black Templar as your dark grey. Maybe just thin it down a little bit, like 1-to-1. Or 2 parts Black Templar to 1 part medium. That might help you. The Black Templar is a dark grey, if that's what you're looking for. Now we wait patiently for Lehman Russ and Vulcan. Oh, it'll be a long time. Unless somebody's got 200 quid knocking about to pick up 2 more Primarchs. A new Elder Scrolls game would be sick. Skyrim is still one of my favorites, though BG3 now tops that list. Yeah, I mean, it's like, you know, the aspects of, you know, I say that about Marathon, the gameplay doesn't look like it does anything new. Baldur's Gate 3 doesn't particularly do anything new. It's turn-based combat, right? And we've seen that many, many, many times before. What Baldur's Gate 3 did amazingly well, though, was the immersion, the divergent path, and just how deep and rich the storytelling was. The fact that there was nothing that you had to pay over and above the game itself, and that it worked when you got it first. Everyone was compelling. Everything was optional. Everything was, you know, like everything was open to you. You weren't forced down any particular paths, and there was multiple different ways to achieve your aims. It depends on how laterally you can think, which I think is just exactly what you want from a proper role-playing game, you know. And everything was lovingly crafted in the game to make an experience that was worthwhile. None of it's procedurally generated. Whereas when you think of like the Elder Scrolls games, especially Starfall that just came out, how much of it is procedurally generated, to the point of where, here's a new quest. Can you go and get my mother's ring from this cave? Right, I'll go to the cave and fight the 3 skeletons and come back. It's the same cave that I've been in 40,000 times. It's like that. I don't need to see that in 2025. And it's the same thing with Starfall, whatever it's called. Starfield? Would much prefer the Elder Scrolls title than a remake of Oblivion, especially when there's already fan projects doing just that. Oh, exactly. Everything has a learning curve. Most printers nowadays print great out of the box, and that expertise comes with experience. It also opens up to utility for other things. Comes down to space and comfort level. If you've got no interest, it's not for everyone. Yeah, I mean, this is the thing. Like, I would love to. The thing with 3D printing for me is I don't really have the space. I have a 3D printer to make a video on. I do. I just don't have the space to do it without doing it in my office and not being up here for 8 hours. And I'm desperately trying to find the time and the place to do it. But we don't have it. I essentially need Alice to take a long weekend away and for me to do it in the living room and try not to damage anything as I'm doing it. That's the thing. It's a problem. It's a real problem. And at the end of the day, I'm not going to do anything adventurous with it because I don't have time to sit and learn it. I'm just going to print the test print, and that's it. That's all we're going to do. How do you mix Lamy and medium in contrast? I tried, but it didn't seem to do anything. I do it on a dry palette. Don't do it on a wet palette. I don't know how to answer that question other than that's how I do it. To be fair, I do all of my mixing with the medium layer brush that I then paint. I don't use pipettes and I don't use large brushes or anything like that. So that the ratios all sit in my head as it is. Star Wars sucks now, I know, Warhipster, but Andor is the golden nugget in the trash pile. Trust me. Oh, Batman. Do I go off on another Andor rant? Do I do that? Is that a thing I do? We had a second membership. Did I miss it? Dudex became a member. Thank you very much, Dudex. I just saw that we were on 2 there. So this should read as that. I'm sorry that I missed that. Happy Easter, everyone. Happy Easter to you, Forge Father Vulcan. You hated Andor. I rant every day about The Last Jedi, about what happened for you in Andor. Okay. Let's try and keep this diet. This is the Coke Zero version of it. Fundamentally, the problem I had with season 1 of Andor was that Andor was in it. He has absolutely no impact on the story whatsoever being there. And what the series is 3 incredible Star Wars stories mashed together to make a series where a character I don't care about has 0 impact and is just a passenger in it the entire time. And he's in no danger whatsoever. At no point is Andor ever in danger. And yet the show tries to make it seem like he might not make it through. And it's like, he's not in danger. We know what happens to him. We know the end of his story. There is already a full stop on his story. So I hate it when shows do that. I don't like it. Same thing with the Obi-Wan show. When the Obi-Wan was like, Obi-Wan might not make it, it's like, we know what happens to him. Don't do that. Flat don't do that. That's the problem I have with it. Otherwise, what the show is 3 very, very, very cool, very, very tight stories pasted together with a character that doesn't need to be there at all. And that's the problem I have with it, fundamentally. There's a lot more stuff that's compelling in Star Wars that can be told than trying to flesh out the same bit over and over about characters who have, I guess, not resonated or have failed with the audience, if you see what I mean. That's my problem with it. I would say that for me, in the Star Wars universe, the two, and I haven't watched it yet. I do want to watch it. Well, okay, I'm going to restart this. The Star Wars is a very compelling IP, and Star Wars, I've said this before, Star Wars has the power as an IP to create household named characters before you've even seen the film. It used to have that power. I don't know if it does anymore. But if Disney announced a new Star Wars film tomorrow and put a trailer out, and it's full of a bunch of characters that you've never seen before, and they tell you what they're called, they're instantly household names. I want everyone to journey back to when The Force Awakens came out. When The Force Awakens came out, there were people in the queue for a film they haven't seen yet, in cosplay of characters for a film they haven't seen yet. That's how powerful the Star Wars IP is. So what Star Wars doesn't need to do is rely on a very narrow period of time and a very narrow set of characters to get people to watch their stuff. They just don't. They flat don't. They just don't need it. They just flat don't need it. And so like when you obsessively retread ground over stuff, and what Star Wars has also gotten into the habit of doing is being like, oh well, in order to understand why this is cool, you have to have watched this thing. So what Star Wars has is it has a lot of content that justifies other content's existence and justifies other content's quality, which is poor. It's poor writing and it's poor construction. It's bad. It's bad. So like when somebody says, "Oh yeah, no, actually the prequel trilogy is actually really good. What you should do is watch Clone Wars," and I'm like, no, I shouldn't watch Clone Wars. The 3 films should have been good. It shouldn't take hundreds of episodes of a cartoon to explain the quality of those films. You can't retroactively change the quality of those films based on 200 plus episodes of a cartoon. No, not okay. The cartoon can be fantastic. It does not change how bad those films are. It doesn't. It just flat doesn't change it. I do need to watch Skeleton Crew. Yes, I was really excited for Skeleton Crew, and then other stuff came out, and we were watching that instead. Hello, Demogorgon. Have you ever played the XCOM games? There's a new trailer for a Star Wars game in which the gameplay looks similar. I have played XCOM. It's really good fun. That style of game is very good fun. What's also is kind of annoying is they always shove some stupid reference to some other Star Wars character or everything needs to have a Skywalker. Exactly. Okay, we're doing this now. I want someday I'm gonna do a Wednesday stream just being like, here's why I hate and love Star Wars. We are just gonna do it at some point. We just might as well. Okay. Mandalorian season 1. Excellent season of television. 10 out of 10. No notes. Mandalorian season 2. The ending. Whilst it's a spectacle and it's great to see, the ending is terrible. And the reason why the ending of Mandalorian season 2, and there's other problems that Mandalorian season 2 has, is they put Luke Skywalker in. And as soon as they put Luke Skywalker into Mandalorian season 2, you shrunk the galaxy from being a galaxy to a solar system. It could have been anyone that turned up at the end there. It could have been somebody. It could have been one of the lesser known canon Jedi. It could have been someone like Cal Kestis. That would have been cool. That would have been really cool to see him, and then just be like, "What? That's Cal Kestis." That would have been mind-blowing. But no, it's Luke Skywalker. So as soon as you put Luke Skywalker in, you put Space Jesus in, there is now nowhere to go up. You cannot go higher than that. Because who's bigger than Luke Skywalker? No one. At this point in the story, there's no one bigger than Luke Skywalker. So that is where Mandalorian peaks right there. And that's a problem. That is a significant problem for the show because it's never going to achieve that. So it means that when you then get other seasons of Mandalorian, they then have to try and top that, but they can't top that always by throwing Luke Skywalker in. And that's why the end of Mando Season 3 is a bit pants, because it's like, okay. There's also the problem that Season 2 had, is Season 2 was trying to do what the Avengers was doing, which is cameos in pretty much every single episode, because they were then these individuals were then going to get a spin-off show. And it happened several times. You know, Ahsoka turned up, Boba Fett turned up, or all this kind of thing. They were all going to get a cameo. They were all going to get these other series. So Mando at that point is just kind of a passenger in his own series, whilst it's a launch pad for everyone else. And also, fundamentally, his character does not grow at all. He just stays the same from the end of Season 1 to Season 2. Season 1 is so compelling because the heartless bounty hunter finds family and therefore changes his attitude completely. And you're like, cool, takes on a father figure's role. He grows as an individual. And what he doesn't do in Season 2 is grow at all. He just stays the same. So he's no longer a compelling character. He's a bit different in Season 3, but he's still no different, which is a problem. What if Lando showed up and seduced the Death Troopers to death? That would have been cool. I'd have loved to have seen that. It's different. So, Last Jedi rant. You and I aren't going to agree on it, Batman. Because you hate it. And I think it's poorly executed, but I think what it was trying to do... I was that. No, it's not good. I don't think it's not a good film. But what it was trying to do was change things to expand the universe. And the third one is then a reaction by Reddit, basically. Rise of Skywalker is poor because it doesn't build anything on Last Jedi, and it's a film written by Reddit. If you go back to that time, everyone would be like, this person is this, and this person is this, and I want to see this, and the bad guy should be this. And that's the film you get as a reaction to The Last Jedi. And I don't think The Last Jedi is a good film, but I don't think it's a bad film either. I think what The Last Jedi tries to do is it tries to say, fundamentally what its message and what its message gets wrong is that it says, the film is telling you, anybody can be a hero. Anybody can stand up to the Empire. And what the third one says is absolutely not. There are only Skywalkers and Palpatines. And that's it. End of. End of story. That's the end of it. It's done. Will this become a painting video or remain as a stream? It will become a painting video, Black Hole Eyes. We are currently waiting for the silver to stop. Happy Easter, Vicious Goose. One of the smallest fixes you can make in The Last Jedi is you swap what Finn and Poe are doing. Because the thing that doesn't make sense in The Last Jedi is why Finn's journey is to go to the casino planet to learn that war is bad. Because Finn is a indoctrinated child soldier who already figured out that war was bad and didn't need that message reiterating to him. It's Poe who needed that message reiterating to him. It's not Finn who needed it. And it's weird to have the child soldier go and learn that war is bad. It's stupid. But if you swap them, it makes much more sense. Have Finn be the distrusted member of the Rebel Alliance, or the Resistance, whatever they're called in it, step into becoming the leader figure that he is meant to be, and that's him overcoming that, not him going and learning that. To change the subject slightly, what future painting videos are coming soon, if you can say? Emperor's Children Demon Prince and Malakath the Black Blade from Elden Ring. There's a couple more videos, but I can't tell you what they are. And, of course, Alpharius as well, who we have started. He looks to be nearly dry. So we might be able to get the next coat on. Which is going to be some Achillean green, but we're going to thin it down a little bit. They make such a big deal out of Poe Dameron in the first film, expecting us to be invested in this complete stranger who doesn't really do much. Then in the guide, there is lots of info on him. Put it in the film. Exactly. Exactly. It's stupid. It's stupid. I also don't like that they don't really explain anything, and to find out how we got from the ending of episode 6 to the start of episode 7, you have to read a bunch of books and play Battlefront 2. Yeah. And also, do you know what you also have to do now? You also have to watch The Mandalorian, Book of Boba Fett, Ahsoka. You have to watch all of those shows, because that's what it's all building to. It's all building to thingy. You know, they talk about that there's a Mandalorian film or something. Or something like that. I can't remember what it's called, or something like that. There's supposed to be something that's coming that is basically going to be the Avengers of those shows. And you go, okay, cool. That film, I guarantee you, is going to end with the creation of the First Order. I guarantee you. Let me ask you this, Warhipster. Last of Us Part 1, fantastic story and characters. Part 2, terrible story and lots of terrible new characters. Agree. I don't know if I do agree with you. I think what The Last of Us 2 does is The Last of Us 2, perhaps unnecessarily, I will say. I think what The Last of Us 2, the game, does is it punches its audience in the kidney for liking The Last of Us 1, which I don't know if it needed to do. Are we going to see some Death Guard in the future? Oh, I don't know. Do you want to see some Death Guard in the future? What Death Guard do you want to see in the future? What's been your favourite new TV show in the last few years? I love, on Apple TV, I really loved a show called Shrinking. It's really good. It's very funny as well. It's very heartwarming. That was excellent. What have Alice and I watched? This is always a tricky one. Marvelous Mrs. Maisel. I really enjoyed that show as well. That was excellent. I have just... There's things I would change about it, but I have just really enjoyed Daredevil Born Again. I wouldn't say it's my favourite show. It's very good. Slow Horses. Really enjoyed that. That was excellent. Yeah. Are you a Severance fan? We're watching Severance now. Oh yeah, I did watch Fallout. I thought Fallout was great. Where did you get the Black Blade model? Can't find Dark Souls miniatures selling any. It's from a guy. Hang on. If you've got me on Instagram, I posted a picture of the video of the model. If you read the blurb, his name is Reels Tion or Reels T1 on Instagram. That's where the print comes from. But I got it from Dark Souls Miniatures, who sent it to me. Have you watched 1883, 1923, and Yellowstone? No, I haven't. I haven't. Right. I think we should do one. No, it's not quite one. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then yeah, like that. Of Achillean green. I just need to check. Why does this not work? Yeah, that's fine. It's not quite right. Let's throw in a little bit more Achillean green. Yeah, that looks a little better. Okay. Alright. Here we go. So with all of that iron hand steel applied, what we're now going to do is we're going to take a roughly 1-to-1 mix of Achillean green and Lamian medium. And we're going to be applying this over the top of all of Alpharius's sort of greeny blue armor. Just like this. So it's mostly all the scales and the flat plates. Now don't worry if you get this over the top of any of the, you know, the bits where you don't want it, like the trim. That's okay, because we can just neaten that back up with some iron hand steel. But for now, just want to get this all over these areas. And then once that's done, we shall of course return. There we go. And just get this on. I'm just going to check the model. Yeah, I was right. There we go. Alright. So it is all the flat plates as well. So we'll do a little bit of this on camera. So all of this stuff here is also the Achillean green. My back hurts, so I'm going to go back to this position. I didn't sleep very well last night, chap. I slept on a brick. I was at my parents' house, and they put us up on a futon. My mother was telling me in the morning that they thought they'd bought the right mattress stopper for it, but they hadn't. So we end up just sleeping on a... It was a very uncomfortable night's sleep, so I can't do the leaning over the desk thing too much. Unfortunately. Both Netflix and Amazon can't keep their stinky little fingers to themselves. Now, here's the thing, right? Whilst I would never defend Amazon and Netflix, you know, they're big corporations, they're big boys, they can do it themselves. You also have to blame the production company. Not them. The people who are actually making the thing as well. It's not just the big studio's fault. Because if you can't explain it to them, and also I don't know how much of like an influence they actually have on it. A lot of people just jump to, oh, it was, you know, Netflix's interference, which is why it changed. And it's like, but Netflix also isn't stupid. They know not to, if something's working, they know not to just walk in and just be like, we need you to do this now to change it. They're not stupid. If something's working, you know. So like if a program's quality falls off, it's generally because the actual people writing it have gotten it wrong. It's nothing really to do with Netflix. It's like the thing with Rings of Power, right? Like Rings of Power is like, there's all kinds of problems with Rings of Power, right? And one of its biggest problems is that it's called Rings of Power. If it wasn't called Rings of Power, it'd be a really cool show, fantasy show. But it's called Rings of Power, so you have to acknowledge that. But at the same time, there's things where the Tolkien estate has said you are not allowed to show this on screen. So they haven't shown it on screen. Do you see what I mean? And whose fault is it that at that point? I'd love to see some Death Guard content, especially with the new Battle Force coming, or are they just too easy/boring for videos? I want to see a Warhipster Plague Marine. That video does already exist. The thing I often like to challenge is if you like The Lord of the Rings, the films that Jackson made, they're not book accurate. Not all of the time. And if they were book accurate, they would be terrible films. So things were changed by Jackson to make it a better set of films to fit with being on screen. So like you wouldn't enjoy 9 films of The Lord of the Rings and the first 4 are Frodo sitting about waiting to leave for the majority of the show. Majority of the film. Like, nobody wants to watch that. You also don't want to watch them stopping for a while to sing a song about a mountain. Nobody wants to watch that. Do you know what I mean? Which famously, at the beginning of the Two Towers, whilst chasing the Uruk-hai across the plains of Rohan, Aragorn does stop for a bit to sing a few stanzas about his favourite song about a mountain. So nobody wants to watch that. Nobody wants to watch that. You just don't. Purists might want to watch that, but the wider audience doesn't. And really what you're chasing is the wider audience, which is why you're bringing it to the audience that doesn't read the books. And what you should hope for as a fan is that the people who see it as a film or TV show go, that was really cool, I'll now read the book. And maybe their opinion will change of it, but now that they're invested in it and you have the book to talk about, if you see what I mean. And like this is one of the biggest problems with all of with everything when it comes to media and this, that, and the other is it's not like I'm out there trying to do it myself. Like, what do I know? So I can have all these opinions and I can think that this thing was terrible, but ultimately, until I've gone and tried to make a Star Wars show, what do I know? Do you see what I mean? Because I might make my Star Wars show and everyone else thinks it's terrible. And I'll be like, but this is what I thought was the direction for it. And you're like, no! So it's really not easy. And like the narratives in book form work because you've got a lot more time to spend with the characters than you do in a film. Which is why I would always argue that like TV is probably a better place to try and make something into something, if you see what I mean. Because you can spend more time with your characters. You can actually get to know them. Can you imagine if they tried to do the first book in a Game of Thrones as a film. It'd be awful. It'd be like the last few series where it was like, are all of these places just like next door to each other now? The thing as well is a lot of people are very passionate fans of things, which is what they should be. And the thing about a book is that a lot of people can place. You can get something very different out of a book to what somebody else got out of it. I kind of don't want them to make a 40k series. All the whining if it's bad or even if it's good, but not what some people wanted, will be unbearable. Oh yeah, no. Look, the thing with the 40k series is, what I would recommend, ladies and gentlemen, is when the 40k series happens, is do not go and watch the reviews of anybody who is a content creator for Warhammer. Don't do it. Boycott it entirely. Because the show is not made for them, and it's not made for us, really. The show is being made to bring the IP to a wider audience. So no, it's not going to be the grimmest, darkest thing that Games Workshop has ever made. It's just flat not going to be. I'm warning you now. So there'll be a bunch of people who will make reviews on YouTube being like, they made a joke! There aren't any jokes in Warhammer! It's like, well, the whole thing is meant to be a satire, so you could say that all of Warhammer is a joke. No, everyone's sad in Warhammer. These people's lives are brutal. Yeah, we know. That's the joke. What I would instead recommend is, if you're going to watch content around the Warhammer show, is just go and find people who like generally review television shows and things like that. And if they're like, this is great, you're not going to subject yourself to everybody being like, I was so disappointed by this. This show is a betrayal of Warhammer fans everywhere. Oh, God. He's certainly an interesting model to paint, this one. There's a lot of subtle silver work that's going on here. And I've done a terrible job of it in terms of staying inside the lines, but that's okay. Because there are plates here that are completely unfinished, as it were. So you end up straying into another detail, which you didn't intend to. Because it's not meant to be this colour. So that's fun. That's fun to identify as you go through. Okay, nearly there. Was it the backpack? So the backpack looks like that. Okay. Cool. Like I said, I didn't think we would get that far with this one today. Because it's going to be a complicated one. That by its very nature is going to require a lot of cleanup. And I was right. Yeah, it's just a slightly cramped model, that's the problem. Oh well. I'll show you what we've done. There you go. So what's going to be a slightly different to what we've done in the past? I think in the past I've done Corellia green shade, but this time I'm going to use Tyrian blue because I think we want to put more of the blue in there rather than the green shade. Is there another channel with a camera view of what you are painting? No, it's this one. It's just I can't. I hurt my back sleeping last night, so I can't sit like this because it's painful for me to do that for 25 minutes. Sorry. I'm bad at streaming. I'm a bad YouTuber. I make crap videos. Starting with the heresy would be way too much for a general audience. I can make for an interesting show if they... they'd be better off doing a new story with new characters and gradually introducing bits of the lore like the Fallout show did. I 100% agree with you, Leakspeaks. The Warhammer show should not be an adaptation of a book. It should be completely brand new. If it's an adaptation of a book, everyone will hate it. And it will be too nebulous for the average viewer to get into it. And like I said, the show is not made for you and I. It's not made for the 82 people watching. We're obviously all going to watch it, but it's not. It can't be made just for us. Because when you watch a show that's made just for the core fans, there's a reason they're the core fans, and there's a reason no one else likes it. Because it's not for them. Was Fulgrim video a hit? It was alright. Didn't do great. It was just surprising. It didn't do as well as Noise Marines. Let me put it that way. The Noise Marines video has been the best Emperor's Children video that I've done so far. In terms of viewership. Yeah. The best thing they can do with a Warhammer 40k show is put it through the eyes of somebody who doesn't know much about the wider world of the Warhammer 40k universe. Which is why, if the show is a show about Space Marines, it'll be rubbish. It'll be really bad. It'll be like the Warcraft film. It'll look like the Warcraft film first and foremost. And Space Marines don't exactly have range. Yeah. What do I know? Again, what do I know? I don't make TV shows. I think to make me happy, and only me happy, they should make a show about Stormcast Eternals. That's what they should do. Which will incense everyone. Because some men just want to watch the world burn. So with all of that Achillean green and Lamian medium mix applied, what we're then going to do is we're going to take some Tyran blue. We're going to apply this over the top of the Achillean green. Now I don't want to just kind of drown it. We just want to be very careful here with the amount that we're putting on. Just a small amount here, just to kind of veer it more towards blue is what we want. So we're just going to apply this like so. Now in the past we've used Coelia green shade to do this, which could also work, but it's just a little bit greener than perhaps I want for this version of the Alpha Legion armor. So we're just going to go for the Tyran blue. I'm just going back to the pot quite often with small amounts, just to make sure I'm not putting too much on at once. Boom. I realised I threw in a Stormcast Eternals hand grenade into the chat and then just started painting again. I stand by that. Come on, guys, you know me. I love Age of Sigmar. I love it so much. I just want everyone else to like it as much as I do. Is that too much to ask? Yes. Yes, it is. Well, the song just wished us a happy Christmas. It's a little bit early. Interesting. This playlist has lost its mind. I wish GW used you for official painting videos. You just need a fancy GW polo and some shots of yourself talking to the camera between paint applications. They'd have to hire me first. They'd have to give me a job. And then, if Games Workshop gave me a job to paint for them, I wouldn't be able to paint for all of you now, would I? But that's very kind of you to say. If I made painting videos for Games Workshop, I absolutely guarantee you I wouldn't be painting Alpharius right now. I'd be doing something else entirely. I'll be real, I prefer your painting over the GW official guys. Oh, that's very kind of you. It's a very big compliment. I mean, obviously to me, I would rather you prefer my painting to theirs. You know? Because I want you to watch my videos. And subscribe to my channel. And become members of my channel, rather than Warhammer Plus. And learn to paint contrast paints with Josh. And also, most importantly, I want you guys to have really cool painted armies that you can be proud of. I very much enjoy it when it turns out some of you guys have gone on to win like best painted and stuff, having used some of the tips and tricks that are in my videos. That makes me feel very, very nice. Makes me feel very justified in what I do. But as always, chat, if you could please leave a like on the stream, that would be very kind of you. I wonder if we can get to the magic 69 number, given as we're on 61. That would be dope. Everyone would think that that was cool. I'm not gonna lie, chat. This color right here looks fantastic. I'll show you in a minute. I'm very pleased with it. You're an Austin Powers film fan, well, yeah, absolutely. Look at that. Doesn't that look great? So now, the crucial thing will be that there's green, obviously, that needs to go in there. I need to determine what the green is going to be. I haven't got quite that far ahead. I think the green is quite a cold green. My instinct right now is orc flesh, but to thin it down a little bit to get that sort of paler green. A warp lightning might work, but it's quite jewelly. But the trick will be is with the trim. What we'll do is we'll go in with Iron Warriors to darken the trim down that little bit, and we'll use Null Oil in that, because this is very blue. So if we use blue to shade the Null Oil, the trim, it'll be too blue, and it'll muddy up all of this lovely scale work. Doesn't that look great? Tell me it looks great. Chat. Tell me it looks great. Good evening, Arnold. I haven't watched an official painting video since discovering contrast paints on your channel. Honestly changed the way I paint. Oh, that's awesome, Dylan. Good evening, class of 92. Great name. Hello, James. I didn't see you there. His approach gets closer to the box art with beginners in mind than anything GW is teaching. Thank you. I try. I've seen contrast paints as a one and done technique, or is there wiggle for multiple layers? Absolutely. Yeah. You can do multiple layers of contrast paints. You can do different layers of different colors of contrast paints to create different colors. So if you put down a blue and then throw a green over the top, that's going to be a quicker way than mixing up the perfect green, shading it and highlighting it, if what you want is a greeny blue. If you see what I mean. You basically picture them as like filters, essentially. And so like if you have like me here, for example, as you can see me, hi, this is the daylight version of me. This is the color I am. But I could put if I put a coat of ultramarines blue over the lens, everything would be blue, right? But then if I put a red over the top of that, it would start mirroring towards purple, rather than having to use a purple to do it. However, caveat, because some of them are a lot darker than others and some of them are a lot stronger than others, you might need to thin them down a little bit in order for them to be more efficient at bringing down the tone to the point of where you want it. Because if you put full strength paint over full strength paint over full strength paint, it becomes very, very, very dark. But it's what we do around here. If you look at a lot of some of my older videos when I was trying to achieve black armor, because Black Templar is a paint that is very, very good, but is not a very good black paint. One of the ways that we achieved that was by putting down a dark paint first and then putting Black Templar over the top to get a black color. But by virtue of doing that, if you put down, for example, Ultramarines blue and then you put Black Templar over the top, what you get is a dark blue black, which is what Games Workshop paints a lot of their shiny, clean Space Marines as, like Raven Guard. I think they do Leviathan blue. Well, I would do Leviathan blue. I've done a Raven Guard video. I can't remember what I did in it. So that's how you can get that kind of thing. So you see like some of the black details on like the Emperor's Children. One way you could do it to make it more Slaneshi is to put down a purple, like Luxion purple or Shaiish purple first, and then put Black Templar over the top, and that will give you a black purple, as it were. Do you only use GW paints? Yes, I do only use GW paints. Is Dark Angel's green pretty bad for a dark contrast green? No, it's very good. It can get out of control, though. How would you go about Corvus Corax? Just Black Legion. I don't know. Let me have a look at him. I suspect what I would do is Corvus Corax. Here he is. Let's have a look at you. I would be inclined to put Black Legion down for Corvus Corax, yes, but what I would do is I would probably shade it with either Nuln Oil to keep it cold, or Drakenhof Nightshade to introduce just a hint of blue into it. Like a dark blue as well. Probably would be how I would do that. And then I would not do that to his hair. That way his hair retain that sort of brownish quality that Black Legion can sometimes have. To answer the question in a little bit more detail about why I only use Citadel paints is, one, I like them, and two, the vast majority of what people have is probably Citadel paints, and it's a brand that if you are in Warhammer you're already familiar with. So it comes from, essentially, what I don't want anyone to ever do is open up one of my videos and there is almost 99% chance that they don't have the thing that I'm telling them to use. So I try and aim my my videos towards the wider end of the hobby funnel rather than the shorter end, because, and I'll tell you why, when I made a triumphant return to the hobby in about 2017, I was looking for a video on how to paint a Ultramarines Rhino. And every single video that I found told me to put out my airbrush. I don't have an airbrush. So all of those videos were useless to me. And as soon as I heard, we're going to airbrush this, I turned off the video. So what I don't want is my videos. Why it's like we're gonna airbrush. Or in this video, what we're gonna do is we're gonna start off by using Vallejo this, because it's like people just go, oh, I don't have that. What 2 paints would you use to highlight Deathcore Drab? That's a good question. Let me see. Have I got that paint? I do have Deathcore Drab. Here it is. Let's have a look. What colour are you? That is Deathcore Drab. Deathcore Drab. Okay. So I think if I was to highlight Deathcore Drab for a green, I would go Deathcore Drab, Castellan Green, Strachan Green. This is Lauren Forest, but I don't think it's right. It's just a little bit too... So there. Like that. For the green. If I was to go grey, I would use Storm Vermin Fur to highlight it. And for a top highlight, I would probably go for Admin on that. So that would be the three. So that's Deathcore Drab, Castellan Strachan if you wanted it green, Storm Vermin Admin if you wanted to make it more grey. See what I mean? Does that make sense as a swatch? That's probably how I would do it. Death Factor, thank you very much for becoming a member. That's very, very kind of you. I bought the entire contrast and shade range because of this man here. I don't regret a single pot. War Judge, you're a legend. Do you varnish your minis? If so, what do you use? And if so, how do you deal with varnishes leaving things glossy? Even the matte ones seem to for me. I don't varnish my miniatures. So I'm terrible at answering that question. Hello, Abdul. What brushes would you recommend for fine highlights? I use an Artist Opus Series S size 00 for every single highlight that I do. It's this one. I use that for everything that I do. I see a lot of people kind of will use like bigger brushes to do it. I think bigger brushes to highlight does make sense to me, because it means you can absorb more paint, which means you can highlight for longer. But for me, my skill, it's a skill issue for me in that I'm not good enough to highlight with a thicker brush, so I use a size 00 to do my highlights because it makes sense to my brain to do it that way. Use a small brush to do small work. Let me pop these away. Didn't you use a Series M? I did used to use a Series M. I bought a Series M and used it a lot. But the Series M is a shorter brush. So I swapped to a Series S because it's longer, which means you can get more of it done. Least I could do with you taking the time to answer my question. Oh, you're very welcome, Death Factor. It's all good. It's what we do here. I am the agony hipster in some ways. One of my favourite things about your tutorials is that you only use Citadel. So many other content creators that use a massive mix of different paint brands, making the tutorials pretty much useless. Yeah, I get that. I mean, look, I get why they do it. Sometimes, in many ways, like, if you assume that somebody is going to, let's go to the face cam for this. It's serious stuff. If you assume that somebody's going to follow your videos because they're following your one video for their army, and that's the only point of call at which they're coming into you. So if you're saying, right, so I'm going to make one video, how to paint, let's say Blood Angels, right? And somebody's coming in and they're only going to watch your How to Paint Blood Angels video, and then they're not going to watch you ever again. Then that video could be, this is the ultimate way to do it that I've found using all of these brands. And then you can extrapolate all of those brands out over the 2,000, 3,000, 4,000 points of Blood Angels that you're now going to go ahead and do. But I don't think that's how viewers actually work. And you guys will tell me better than I will know. At least, you know, that would be what I would say, is that actually if you've come to me, it's because I do so many different videos about so many different things all of the time that actually when you come into my videos, you're expecting not to have to go outside of the range, as it were. So if I was to suddenly start being like, we're going to do the red with Citadel, we're going to do the blue with Army Painter, we're going to do the yellow with Express Color, and then we're going to use tooth and coats to do all of the leather, and then we're going to do this for that, you would be suddenly shocked, because it would be like, well, hold on, I don't have most of those, and I'm used to your ecosystem being all Citadel all the time, so I know that if I'm going to come with you, and I'm going to use your videos a lot because you do a lot of different stuff, and I'm going to come to you for a lot of varied videos, I feel like sticking to a single narrow area, or at least having a video before you start diversifying, explaining that you're going to start diversifying. Do you see what I mean? So if I was like, we're going to change slightly how we're going to do the videos from now on, in that when I say we're going to paint something silver, I'm going to say we're going to paint something dark silver. And then you can use whatever brand you want for that. But I feel like in that instance, that's going to create more questions with the audience. If you see what I mean. I started to use only a Vallejo Pro Modeler size 2 to do everything on the model, mostly because I forget to swap to different sizes. Yeah, I do the same thing, James. What ends up happening with me is I'll get a brush and I'll be like, why is this so difficult? And I'll realise that I'm trying to do tiny work with a medium layer, and I'll be like, time to swap over. The Pro Modeler 2, though, is a great brush. It's fantastic. I love that brush. I would use it more often, but it's not easy to get a hold of for a lot of people. And even I've struggled to find it. I will use it very occasionally for something. I can't remember where mine is. It's here somewhere. But I feel like as well, like when you pick up my videos, if you see, like, of the last, I found it once and you bought them out. Very good. That's what I like to hear, James. Well done. I'm gonna quick poll now. If you have watched any of the videos that I have released in the last, let's say in the last year, what silver color do I always highlight silver with? And there's two, but what color do I always highlight silver with? There you go. Sly Guy. Ironbreaker. Yeah. Yeah. Stormhost and Ironbreaker. Boom. Exactly. Perfect. Absolutely fantastic. The brightest one. Thanks, Demogorgon. Yeah, no. Okay, exactly. So that illustrates the point. I'll ask the same question with Retributor armor. There's two ways that I highlight Retributor armor. What are they? I'll give you a hint. One of them's a mix. Liberator Gold. Bingo. What's the mix? Yeah, there you go. Stormhost Silver and Retributor Armor. Right, yeah, okay. So this is there. Perfect. Okay, so the third one. When you see one of my bases, what can you pretty much guarantee I've dry brushed it with? Tyrant Skull. Tyrant Skull. Carrick Stone. Yeah, okay. Yeah, no, perfect. So the reason being, is that what I would really love, and what I've kind of shot for a lot of the time with how I've made my videos, is that if you are unsure of a certain colour, or how I've done a certain thing, you'll watch the video, hopefully you'll enjoy it, but you'll watch the video and you'll be like, oh, that's how he did it. But you can pretty much predict exactly what's going to happen with the silver, what's going to happen with the black, what's going to happen with all these. it's so much so that with one of my videos, it might be a case of like, you already know what I'm going to do before you've even watched it. And that as you watch it, you go, yep, makes sense, makes sense, makes sense, makes sense. But also that you're within the ecosystem, and therefore you've got all of the paints already. So you're all good to go in that regard. And so it's like, in many ways you can go, oh, I've opened up the video and yep, I already know exactly what he's going to do. And hopefully still watch it anyway. And like, you know, we could go through all of this one now. But like, so for example, this video is on the way, the Emperor's Children Demon Prince, and I suspect if you've watched all of my Emperor's Children videos so far, you'll know what the green is, you'll know what the pink is, you'll know what the white is, and you'll know what the wings are. Like the wing skin here and all this kind of thing. There'll be things in here that you might not know, but you'll know what the silver is, you'll know what the gold is, and so on and so forth. So it's like, yeah, all of it comes together, and it looks great as it is, and you get to see the order of operations and this, that, and the other. But ultimately, you'll know how this one works. Whereas I think a lot of people would be really surprised if for this video and this video alone, I banged out the airbrush and airbrushed on some Monument Hobbies paints. It would be like, what the hell is this? Why would you not do this? But yeah, there you go. That's the Emperor's Children Demon Prince. He is on his way. It will be this week, hopefully. Your videos this week should be, at the minimum, him and that one as well. The what's it called? The Cacophonist. And then hopefully, should I get the time, we will get this guy out as well. Malekith, the Black Blade from Elden Ring. So there you go. That should be your 3 videos this week. I think Citadel is a good choice, but I think you could also achieve the same consistency across videos with any single brand. Absolutely. No, absolutely. 100%. Yeah. No, you can. If you went to, like, for anybody out there who wants to start a YouTube channel, here's one for you. Speed Paint Plus. Express Plus. I'm the Contrast Plus guy. That's the branding. But there you go. You could achieve the same thing if you go, right, we're going to make Army Painter Speed Paint tutorials. We're going to use Army Painter's Fanatic range to highlight it. We're going to use Army Painter primers. We're going to use Army Painter brushes. We're going to use it. You can do all of that. And that is all there, and it's all ready, and it's all waiting for you, and it's all good to go. And you can create the thing. Already done with Express. Yeah. Juan is out there doing great work with it. But that's the thing, is you could do the Vallejo brand and this, that, and the other. I've been considering doing shorts showing how to mix Pro Acryl to get Citadel colours. Absolutely, James. That's a really good idea. Really good idea. Because I think a lot of people's frame of reference before going into another paint brand is Citadel paint conversion chart. That's where people start. And if you don't see an exact one-to-one, people generally default to something, or they go for something slightly different. But if you can make videos going, hey, this is how you can achieve Strachan Green by doing this, that, and the other, you're creating that frame of reference into another paint brand. And I think that's really, really positive content. That's really good. Are you full-time on YouTube? I am full-time on YouTube. And if so, did you set an income level goal to transition? No, I didn't. I went full-time on YouTube because it's what I wanted to do. And I didn't want to put the responsibility of me promoting myself to doing my dream job on my audience. the only way I was going to get anywhere was by fully committing 100%. So I fully committed 100%. And I have been fully committed 100% since 2021. And let me tell you, there have been many months where just about managed to pay the rent. But yeah, no, I was like, this is the only way this is gonna work is if I just do this. I don't want to do like, you know, I didn't want to set the channel up as a monetization machine, in terms of being like, the only way that this is gonna work is by doing 3 videos a week, and 2 of them go on a paywall and 1 of them stays out, and this, that, and the other. That had to be scary at first with bills and things. It was. Yeah. It was very scary. I don't have kids, though. I thankfully have a partner, Alice, and she's very, very supportive. You got any future Ossiarch Bone Reapers related models you want to paint? Yes. I have got a Warcry warband of theirs to do at some point. I also have Nagash to do at some point. So that's Ossiarch Bone Reapers related. And also, we will look at what happens with the Ossiarch Bone Reapers when their battle tome comes out. Because whatever happens around then, I'll do whatever happens around then as well. It's almost guaranteed at this point. About to build my first Necromunda models. Oh, I love that, says Strumming Fish. That's exciting. The models I need are in the next Spearhead box. No, I like it. I like it. I could do shorts on how to turn contrast paints into glowing contrast paints. I did it for my Mandrakes, Warp Tats, and Warp Fire, and doing it for my Plague Marines, Kill Tame, Eye Lenses, Plasma Gun, etc. Yeah, no, that sounds great, Dylan. If you've got ideas for content, you should go and make the content, because somebody out there wants to see it. And you'd be surprised by how many people will want to see it as well. I'm shocked. I'm shocked by how many people want to see my content. There's 83,428 of you who want to watch my content, and hopefully, eventually, we'll have 100,000 people who want to watch my content. Maybe. We shall see. But it is now 7:45, ladies and gentlemen, which means, well, you've got 1 minute left. How do you feel about the new Daughters Warband? I haven't had a good enough look at it, but I liked what I saw on Instagram. I'm just going to quick squiz through it now. The Knives of the Crone bring elven guile to Warhammer Underworlds. Oh yeah, no, I like them. They're nice and they're pretty simple. It's nice to have Cthulhu the Croneseer have some friends as well, which is cool. Which means they'll probably be in the battle tome. We shall have to find out. What are your preferred Citadel paint colours as corpse paint? What I really like to do with desiccated corpses is put down a flesh colour and then put Griff Charger Grey over the top. It looks great. "15 minutes and you can send everyone to raid Liam. He's slacking and running late this evening." Well, I can't, because I've got to go now, because my dinner is going to be ready very shortly. So unfortunately, Liam doesn't go and get a raid from me. He should have been on when he was supposed to, and not playing Call of Duty Warzone all afternoon. You know, he needs to be responsible with his time. But yeah. Anyway, guys, I am going to bimble off now. But, as already mentioned, there is going to be videos coming for you very, very, very soon. We have Malekith, the Black Blade. We have an Emperor's Children Demon Prince. We have the Lord Cacophonist. That is also coming for you. Those are the 3 videos you have this week. As for next week, I have no idea. I haven't got there yet. Hopefully, Alpharius will happen next week. But it takes me a little bit of time to get these things together. You shall have to see. I'll give you an update. I'll give you a work in progress update on Wednesday. We'll have to see. But yeah, thank you very much for having a good time with me tonight. I will be live on Wednesday once more. So if you've got any questions, hold on to them till then. Did you see a boost to your channel after the success of Space Marine 2 and Secret Level? Sort of. It was more the amount of videos I was putting out, I think, was what was doing it. Because I didn't really do anything around those games and episodes of television. Anyway, I will see you all very soon in the next one. Hand of farewell. Bye for now. Keep being beautiful, chat. Love you. Bye.